can multiply and divide rational numbers, fractions and mixed numbers. So when you multiply rational numbers, that's the easiest one. You multiply the numerators together, multiply the bottoms together, and then see if you can reduce. Okay, that's the easiest one. But I'm going to show you a little Khan Academy video here. So make sure my sound's up to maximum. Yep, almost. Remember, it's quiet, but it's a good explanation. So everyone listen quietly to this. And it's a good explanation visually of why. Okay? Everybody wants to know why.
Sections. So
oops, sorry guys.
Let's think a little bit about what it means to multiply fractions. Say I want to multiply 1/2 times 1/4. Well, what can we think about this? This is 1/4.
How do I get rid of that energy from this thing? Thanks.
Oh, we can divide this into two equal sections. Let's take one of them. Two equal sections. One of them. So we're taking the square root is 1. So the square root is like
We're not going to pause. Really want his explanation now. So he's drawing 4/5 right now. Does everyone understand why that represents 4/5? You're looking up here, okay? What? That's 4/5. Okay, so we want 2/3 of 4/5. Of means multiply. 2/3 of 4/5.
now we can view this as 2/3 of the 4/5. So how can we think about that? We can take this section and divide it into thirds. So let's do that. Divide it into thirds.
Okay, does everyone see why this has now been divided into thirds this way? Okay? So if I wanted to show 2/3, I could color in both of these, and that would be 2/3. Okay? All right, keep listening.
Now what's going to be 2/3 of the 4/5? Well, that's going to be the part.
2/3 of the 4/5. Okay, so of means multiply, remember that. I'll get out of that. And get out of that. And go back here. There we are. Okay, so of means multiply, and he showed you how easy multiplying was there. So we will take that and go with it. So you need your calculator. Yep. Yep. Okay, 3/5 times 1/2. Okay, 3/5 times 1/2, or 3/5 of a half. Multiply the numerators together. 3 times 1. Multiply the denominators together. 5 times 2, 3/10. See if you can reduce. Can you reduce? No, you're done. Okay? Next one. All right, so that negative sign sticking out front. When I'm using it, phones off, guys. When I'm using the negative sign, I always put it with the top number. So I'm going to rewrite this so that I don't get confused about where the negative sign goes. One negative sign, it can only be in one spot, but it can be in any of those 3 spots, right out front, with the top one, or with the bottom one. Okay? And when we operate with fractions, we always put that negative with the top. Okay? So now that we've done that, it's multiplying. Numerator by numerator. -3 times 2 is -6. 4 times 9 is 36. Can that be reduced? We always ask ourselves at the end, can that be reduced? Yep. We can divide by 6. So -6 divided by 6 is -1. 36 divided by 6 is 6. Josh? All right, the next one. When I have a mixed number, step 1 is going to be to change it to an improper fraction. So a good time for everyone to practice doing that. I think most people have that down. So how can I change 2 2/3 to an improper fraction? I'm going to start this one for a couple of reasons. It's the first one that has a mixed number. Yep.
Times a whole number with the denominator.
Yep.
And it adds in.
And so I'm going to get 8/3. So this is where the biggest mistakes on multiplying come from in grade 9. 3 doesn't look like it has a denominator, but what do we learn about integers? No, what do we learn about integers? Yep. Yes. So any integer can be written as a fraction with a denominator of 1. Okay, so if you don't see a denominator there, the biggest mistake grade 9s make is they want to multiply top and bottom by 3. Okay, but it's not when you're multiplying. The denominator of a whole number is a 1. So now that we've got that, we multiply the numerators together and the denominators together. 3 times 1 is 3. Now we want to reduce. This one reduces a long way because does 3 go into 24? It does evenly. So some people will write 24 divided by 3 is 8, 3 divided by 3 is 1. But when we just said 3 over 1 was 3, in the same way, 8 over 1 is just 8. 8 over 1 is just 8, because that means 8 divided by 1. Okay? Multiplying. All right. So for D here, first thing you want to do is change 3.5 to a mixed number. Change 3.5 to a mixed number. Oh, sorry, change it to an improper fraction, my bad. Sorry guys, that are watching from home, we might change it to an improper fraction. So who thinks they've got that improper fraction? Yep.
7 over 2.
7 over 2.
Ms. Northwood,
Yes?
can you submit your morning attendance, please?
Yes?
And welcome back.
Thank you. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I don't like that negative sign equal with the fraction bar. I'm going to always move it up with the top number, with the numerator, so I know which one it goes with. It doesn't go with both, remember, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Another grade 9 common mistake. So now we're ready to just do top by top, bottom by bottom. So 7 times negative 4 is negative 28, 2 times 3 is 6. And then see if we can reduce. If they're both even numbers, what do I know goes into both of them? Molly, 2. So negative 28 divided by 2 is negative 14. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay. E, I'll put a little star beside it because it's got those negative signs. So if you were Mrs. Northwood, how would you rewrite each of those fractions? Anyone? Where do I want those negative signs?
On the top.
On the top. Perfect. So you might do this stuff in your head, but I want you all to at least know that's where the negative signs are. Okay? Then we were going to multiply numerator by numerator. Negative 2 times negative 3. We can use our calculator. 5 times 4. Remember, negative times negative is positive. Can that reduce? They're both even. So I can divide top and bottom by 2 at least. 3 tenths. Ooh. We haven't talked too much about exponents. We did a little bit in BEDMAS. What does the power of 2 mean? Yep.
Times it by itself.
Times it by itself. So that really means 2 3/5 times 2 3/5. Nice. Love that. Okay, so that's what that exponent means. 2 3/5 times by itself. Braden?
Yeah.
Do you know how to change 2 3/5 to an improper fraction? 2 3/5.
Times the 5.
Yep, so 13/5, awesome. And then that's the same, so it's going to be 13/5 again. Thirteen times 13 is 169. 5 times 5 is 25. And I'll give you a little hint, if this is in if this is in lowest terms, which means this guy, then your answer will always be in lowest terms as well. Okay, so you don't have to spend time thinking about it when you multiply something by itself. Okay, so I feel like that's the multiplying, is it not? What am I doing here? So we're on dividing. Oops, gotta click on it here. Oh. Come on. There we go. Okay, and I'm gonna expand the screen.
2. And then I can multiply the denominator.
And then I'm gonna go back here. Okay, everyone quiet, and we're gonna watch that dividing. Is it going here?
Figure out what 2 over 3 divided by 5 is equal to. As long as it's video, let's see if you can figure this out. Well, there's a couple of ways that we can approach it. We can first do it in a conceptual way. Think about it. Let me represent it. So let's say this
Reciprocate. Okay, guys, so dividing fractions is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. Reciprocal, a new math word, reciprocal. Okay, so that means you flip it upside down. So if you have 5 over 1, if you take the reciprocal, it becomes 1 over 5. Okay, so that's going to be our rule. And we're going to divide now. So get rid of that and back to this. So, yeah, I'm keeping going here. So I got another example before we can do it both ways. So we can do it conceptually. So there's 3/4 of a cake divided by half. So how many halves go into 3/4? Do you guys see that that is a half right there? That's 1 1/2. Does everyone see that? And then how much of a half is this part? quarter of a half, or it's half of a half. You see that? So I've got 1/2 and a half. So 1.5 should be my answer conceptually. Now let's see if we can get that using the reciprocal rule. So dividing by a fraction is the same as, Brayden, multiplying by the reciprocal. Are you on this page?
No.
Okay, get to it. So the rule is going to be you keep the first fraction the same. Change the divide to a multiply and flip the second fraction upside down. Okay? So same, change divide to a multiply, flip. Okay? And then multiplying questions is top by top. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 1 is 4. Does that reduce? Yes, they're both even, so I can divide by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So here we got 1.5. Here we got 3/2. Are those the same? Yeah. If you change 1.5 to an improper fraction, it's 2 times 1 plus 1, 3/2. Okay, so we got the same answer. So this is going to be our rule. Multiply by the reciprocal. First fraction stays the same, multiply by the reciprocal. First fraction stays the same, multiply by the reciprocal. Okay? All right, so here's our dividing together here. 3 divided by 1/2. First number stays the same. Divided by, I change to a multiply. And I flip the half. So if I take the reciprocal of 1/2, what's it going to be?
Would it be 2/1?
2/1, which is just 2.
Whole. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 wholes. Okay? Because 2/1 is equal to just plain 2. Okay? And since this one's not a fraction either, that's kind of easy. Now, if you think about it conceptually, and I asked you how many halves go into 3, 3 divided by 1/2, how many halves go into 3? So here's 3, cut them in half. How many halves go into 3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's what we got. Okay? So 3 wholes. How many halves go into 3 wholes? I make each 3, if I cut each 3 in half, there's 6 halves that go into 3 wholes. Okay? 1/3 divided by 2. So again, we're going to use our rule. The first fraction stays the same. Change the divide to a multiply. And what's the reciprocal of 2? 1/2. Okay, so if you're starting with 2, you've got to remember that invisible 1 and the reciprocal r is 1/2. So then we use our multiply rule. Multiply the tops together. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 2 is 6. And 1/60 can't reduce. 2 1/3. So my first job, I'll put a little star here, would be to change that to an improper fraction. 2 1/3. 2 1/3 has an improper fraction. Alexa?
7.
7/3, good. So now I'm going to change my divide to a multiply. And if I, 3/2 is the reciprocal of 2/3, awesome. Now it's a multiply question, which we just worked on, so I multiply the tops together, and I multiply the bottoms together. Okay, and then I see if I can reduce it. So is there a number that goes into both 21 and 6? Yep, 3 does, very good. Seven over 2. And just to talk about the 3 for a second, if we look back here, we see that we're multiplying 7 times 3 on the top, and we're multiplying 3 times 2 on the bottom, so both should be divisible by 3. Okay? So when you see that happening, you know you're going to be able to reduce. You're multiplying by the same thing in the top and the bottom somewhere. You will be able to reduce. Okay? All right, this is our vertical divide here. So this fraction bar here means divide. So I'm going to still use my rule, keep the first fraction the same. So the first one is the top one. Top is first. That one stays the same. This vertical divide I'm going to change to a multiply. And I'm going to flip the second one. So instead of 9/10, I'm going to multiply by 10 over 9. Okay, so now I've set up my divide question and I've made it into an easier multiply question. So now I'm going to multiply the numerators together. -3 times 10 is -30. 4 times 9 is 36. Does that reduce?
Yeah.
Yep, what can I divide by? 6? Good. So -30 divided by 6 is -5. 36 divided by 6 is 6. And our last one here, it's got everything involved in it. It's got the mixed numbers, the vertical divide sign. So if I was doing this one, I would probably start off by changing each of my mixed numbers to improper fractions. That's what I would do first. Alexa?
-13 over 4.
-13 over 4 divided by
5 over 2.
5 over 2. Does that make sense to everybody? So all I did in that step was change my mixed numbers to improper fractions. That's all I did. Now I want to actually do the divide. So now I'm going to use my rule here, which is keep the first or the top number the same and multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator. Once I've done that, I've done all the hard work because multiplying is the easiest of the 4, right? -13 times 2, I multiply the tops together. I multiply the bottoms together and see if I can reduce. Can you reduce this one?
Yeah.
Yep. They're both even, so we can at least divide by 2. All right, so you've only got 5 minutes left. If the NC quiz is posted and you feel good about it, do it tonight, number 6. Okay, if not, then we'll do it tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning we only have 1 topic to do. Okay, but NC quiz number 5 is your homework tonight. Okay, and tutors, could you circle some divide questions for your partners to try tonight as well? You've got 5 minutes, so you should be able to get some of them done anyways.
There's just 4.
Okay.